Hey guys, welcome back. Dizzle in Motion. Got another update today and the climate EV green energy challenge that's unfolding in front of us in the car world, i.e. California versus the country. And the Republicans are introducing a bill to go toe-to-toe with Gavin Newsom, California, Carb, the AG, and everything else. So this video is just a quick review. There's a couple of articles written recently that go into details, and I'm going to read some of them, not the entirety of it, because it has some great quotes from some of the senators and relevant people to the bills. So basically, this is an overview. A couple weeks ago, if you're not seeing any of the videos yet, we had the National Transportation Freedom Act that was presented from Senator Moreno in Ohio that was basically trying to end CARB and some of the oppressive EV green energy mandates that California and a few other places have instituted. We've made follow-up videos because Lee Zeldin came out and said from the EPA and said, hey, we're going to roll back standards. And the fact that California gets waivers that allow it to exceed the federal and national standards, and it imposes an unnecessary and a bad financial burden in many cases for purchasing vehicles, keeping them current, registered, etc., and sets potentially unrealistic goals moving forward. So the whole purpose of this fight is to tell California, you got to do what the rest of us are doing. Now, is it going to go down that way? We'll find out in the courts. But this bill, there's a difference in when the administration is in, like when Biden's in, he can say, hey, we're doing all green energy, right? And then when Trump comes in, he's like, yeah, we're doing all oil, screw EVs or whatever. That allowed to happen because they have executive order. The administration can impose their will with the EPA, etc. However, they cannot supersede the Clean Air Act. They cannot do certain things. Certain things need an actual bill, legislation, because what that prevents is future presidents or even this one from changing on a whim whatever their personal agenda is, more or less. So let's get into this article real quick and see what's going on with the agenda here. All right, so as I mentioned before, California has over 100 active federal waivers going on. The Republicans are introducing this bill. I'm going to read through it a little bit, and I'll throw it on the screen just so you can kind of follow along if you're more of a visual than, or my voice doesn't do it for you or whatever, so you can follow along with me. So here we go. It says, the House and Senate Republicans introducing the legislation Friday, modifying the Clean Air Act of 1970 to revoke California's authority to issue vehicle emissions rules that are stricter than federal rules. We've talked about this nonstop. So it's being introduced by Representative Troy Nehls out of Texas and Senator Mike Lee out of Utah. And basically, as you can follow along there, it's to dismantle California's efforts to mandate electric vehicles, trucks, and trains. Again, this doesn't stop people from building EVs. It doesn't stop people from buying them. What it's saying is you don't have to. Okay, that's not going to be the law of the land. That's not going to be the rules. We're going to still do a free market economy here. That's all this is, really the broad point of all this stuff. So California's Governor Newsom has a so-called California Climate Commitment Plan that ends the reliance on fossil fuels, deploys green energy, cuts greenhouse emissions 85% by 2045, and decrease oil demand by 94%. Whether that's realistic or not, I don't know. So basically, this is Republican bill would deal a significant blow to those plans, represent a major setback for the left-wing climate movement, also aligning with Donald Trump's priorities to scrap EV mandates, boost consumer choice, and roll back regulations targeting fossil fuels. So it's getting committee consideration, it looks like, in the next few weeks. And we got another quote from Nehls. The radical liberal state of California should never be able to govern for our great state of Texas. California should not be legislating for the rest of the country. My bill will ensure that California only governs California, not hardworking patriots in my district, by repealing California's waiver. So what he's referring to is, as I mentioned in previous videos, if California gets a waiver to set a higher standard, no one's arguing that California shouldn't be able to do their own thing, except for the people that are suffering from it. The problem is, by law, if California is granted a waiver that says, let's say, no gasoline vehicles by 2035, that's one of their things, other states can adopt it. You see, so it spreads. And they are basically saying this is stupid because California is overruling their own stuff. They want to screw their own stuff up, let them. But because of the way the law is written, other states are allowed to adopt it. So if you're running into the same problem again, okay, in the rest of the country, Texas or wherever, you get one person that wants it green, guess what? They can flip-flop this, and the results on the economy, trying to plan manufacturing, anything else, you can do the math on how that's just disastrous. So anyway, California has abused the Clean Air Act's waiver provision for years, imposing ridiculous emission standards on the other 49 states. Fortunately, the rest of the country isn't governed by far left extremists like California, and we shouldn't have to answer to them. So this is we're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. Overall, California Air Resources Board, Carb as we call it on this channel, and as you've seen around, has over 100 active federal waivers that allow it to set higher emission standards than the Environmental Protection Agency. Biden greenlit many of the state's waivers as part of his own climate agenda. And then here's the crux of it, the counter argument. Critics argue that the size of California's economy means its emission standards effectively preempt federal standards and force all states to comply for automakers. So California's electric vehicle mandate, which bans new gas-powered cars by 2035, and which Biden administration issued a waiver for, will depress economic activity, increase costs, and less vehicle choice across the country. There's no way around it. That's absolutely true. In addition, under the Clean Air Act, other states can choose to adopt standards, as I just mentioned, by California, and via federal waiver. 12 states already have adopted California's electric vehicle mandate. So those 12 states would also be repealed, so to speak, if these waivers and this act is passed. So it could be affecting a lot of people. This video has a lot of impact across the country, not just in California, because we're setting a new precedent here, okay? Americans rely upon gas-powered cars to reliably and affordably meet their mobility needs. Yeah, okay, got it. Industry groups, American Petroleum Institute, Association of American Railroads, American Short Line Railroad Association, American Petro fuel manufacturers endorse to stop California from right. Okay, and a whole host of other, obviously Republicans, Lauren Boebert, just wanted to say the name because I know what you think, right, when I say that. But yeah, a lot of people are on board with this. It's definitely going to be just a polarizing, crazy fight. The good news is we're going to have finality to this. I'm happy. However it shakes out, I think it's going to shake out the good way because it's conservative right now, and I think we're going to get rid of stuff. So anytime I'm for deregulation, I'm for less regulation when it comes to certain things. Okay? Stuff like this is going to open up the economy. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, is this wrong? Is this like we going to save the environment by moving EVs 5 years and stuff like that? You look at the billions of dollars of economic impact. I would argue families not having money to feed themselves or afford healthier choice for groceries because they're spending it on smog checks and stupid registrations and newer cars they can't afford because the old one they're told is not good anymore. I would argue that's more detrimental than the 0.001% of carbon emissions you're trying to virtue signal. My opinion. I want to hear yours in the comments. Anyways, this is just the beginning of the fight. We'll have plenty of updates as it moves along. It's going to go to committee next week or so, and then I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching the video. Catch you on the next one.